Today, we're going to look at a blueprint for a totally different kind of community. We're talking about Black Forest on Lake James, a place that was designed not just to sit on the land, but to really become a part of its fabric. So let's dive into how they pulled off this pretty amazing idea. Okay, so picture this. 600 acres of just beautiful, untouched mountain and lake landscape right in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Now, this very piece of land, which was an original Duke Energy tract from way back in the 1920s, it came to a crossroads. It could have become just another crowded subdivision, or it could have become something else entirely. And that big decision? Well, it brings us to a tale of two very, very different plans. It's a story about a path that was chosen, and that choice, it made all the difference. I mean, just look at this contrast. It tells you everything you need to know. The original plan back in 2002 was for a super high-density development, basically cramming 400 to 500 homes onto this land. But then, in this major pivot, Crescent Communities came in with a totally radical idea. Let's go in the complete opposite direction. Just 56 lots on that same 600 acres. You see, this wasn't just about building fewer houses. It was about building with a brand new philosophy. This was the Black Forest vision.
So the key idea is right here in this quote from their own guidelines. The goal was to create a community that was, in tune with the organic rhythms of the land itself. The human presence was meant to be secondary. The forest, the mountains, the lake, they were supposed to be the main characters here.
But it's one thing to have a poetic vision, and another thing to turn it into concrete, steel, and wood, right? Well, it all came down to a really simple but powerful principle: designing with nature, not trying to fight against it. This really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When you're in the foothills, the land is anything but flat, so that standard approach of just drawing a grid, perfect squares and rectangles for lots, it just doesn't work. You end up with these awkward, often totally unbuildable sites. So Black Forest said, nope, we're not doing that. And the secret sauce was this concept right here: the building envelope. So instead of letting people build wherever they want on their lot, the planners went in and pre-selected the best spots. These areas were picked specifically because they worked with the land's natural flow: the slopes, the trees, the way water drains. What does that mean? It means less digging, fewer trees cut down, and a home that just feels like it belongs there from day one. And this is the perfect illustration of what that looks like in reality. You can see how the lot lines and those building envelopes, they follow the curves of the land. This makes sure that every single lot is totally unique and has not just one, but usually multiple amazing buildable sites that feel completely natural, like they were always meant to be there. Now, to back all this up, they put some really strict environmental rules in place. You can think of these as like the community's conscience. Impervious surfaces, so that's your driveways, your roofs, are capped at just 7% of a lot's area. Now, to put that in perspective, in a lot of typical suburbs, that number can easily be over 25 or 30%. The total disturbed area is capped at 14%, and any slope steeper than 35%, you just can't build on it. And these aren't just suggestions, they're hard limits that protect the whole ecosystem for everyone.
This whole philosophy of fitting in, it doesn't just stop with the land. It goes right to the architecture itself. There's something they call the homestead concept.
Now, this is a really cool idea. Instead of building one giant monolithic house, the design actually encourages a more informal collection of smaller, related buildings. This compound style is inspired by old mountain settlements that just grew organically over time, adding buildings as a family needed them. It gives the whole place a much more subtle, rambling quality that just fits right into the landscape.
And you can see how it works right here. The different buildings are often connected by things like open breezeways, galleries, and simple little paths. It creates this series of really functional and beautiful outdoor spaces between the buildings.
The whole look and feel really leans into a rustic tradition, pulling from the heritage of the Appalachian Mountains. The big focus is on natural, locally sourced materials and handcrafted details, so lots of stone, lots of wood, and other things that have a tone and a texture that just blend right into the forest.
And what you get is architecture that feels like it's been nestled into the landscape. And get this, there's no minimum square footage required, only a maximum. So the design actually lets a family start small and then add on over generations, which really fulfills that whole long-term compound vision. So, what's the result of all this meticulous planning? Well, you get more than just a collection of nice houses. You actually build a genuine community within the forest.
The shared spaces are all designed to get people out and enjoying the very nature they've worked so hard to preserve. You've got a meeting house with these killer views, a river camp for picnics and kayaking, and even a Swiss Family Robinson-style treehouse, which is just awesome, and hiking trails just weave through the property, connecting everything together.
And this right here, this is the Lake Camp Pavilion. It's a perfect symbol of the whole community's philosophy. This beautiful structure was built with standing dead Canadian cedar that was actually harvested with helicopters to minimize the impact on the land. It's the hub for community meetings and get-togethers, a physical reminder of the goal to connect people with each other and with the land. You know, Black Forest really stands as this powerful case study. It proves that development doesn't have to mean domination. And it leaves us with a really important question. What if more communities saw themselves not as owners of a landscape, but as its stewards? Could we actually design more places to truly preserve a place instead of just occupying it?